pausing our recording and restarting it for our sessions later. And for David or Cassie, I'm not sure if I did that between Brian and here. So if one of you didn't do that, it needs to be done when we.
I did it. I took care of it.
Aw, way to go, team. Cool. Well, we have a few minutes, 3 minutes, in fact, before we have our NWPCC. That's our like official Northwest Permaculture Convergence nonprofit symbol. If you wonder why if one of the questions is why there's 2 C's, I don't know, but it was how it was filed with the state. So we keep it up. Yeah, so that's happening in a few minutes. So, and then lunch is at 2. And if you want to get lunch, you get lunch whenever you want to. But then we have our food preservation conversation from 1:15 to 2. And then Hemp, the Green Revolution. And we had a slight schedule change. If you're not looking at the like living schedule that we can change whenever we feel like it, there was a request to swap out, and I don't see it on the one I'm looking at right now, but there's a request to swap out Penny Livingston and Laura Morgan. So at 2:25 is when we're going to have Penny Livingston, and then at 4 o'clock is Laura Morgan. And maybe I just didn't refresh my thing and it's really there and I haven't reloaded my page. So that
maybe reload.
That is a real possibility. So it should be correct then. And if it's not, reload your page and then it will be correct. So yeah. And it is correct if you reload your page. So if it's not, that's the answer. Yeah.
For my brain, could you repeat what happens after 1 o'clock, or what's 1 o'clock? And
1 to 2 p.m. 1 to 2 is lunchtime, and then 2 to 2:15 is Hemp, the Green Revolution, which is a little talk and discussion by Jacques. 2:25 to 3:50 is Integrated Adaptation with Penny Livingston. And then 4 to 5 is Dreaming with the Land with Laura Morgan. Then we have an awesome, really great video of Queen Mountain Farm, our evening circle, and then our rad keynote with Prem Singh of India, which will be really, really fun. He's got a lot of great information on kind of natural holistic farming in India that he brings to people. And David Stein can speak to that too. But for now, we have, like, I guess 15 minutes, don't we, before our Ask Us Anything. Is that true? No, it starts right now. So
right now.
Yeah, and so a little bit about the board. The board official with all of our roles is myself, and then David Stein, and Cassie, and David Algren. And we're all in here. And if you look at the participants, we're all pegged at the top and host and co-host. David Stein and I joined the board in 2016. David Algren or Cassie, who joined first?
Both of us joined at the same time.
Yeah, so David and Cassie both joined after the Camp Singing Wind Convergence, which was
2018.
18. Yeah, and so we're the board proper. I wear the president hat. Cassie has the secretary hat. But those are just like, you know, it's just little bits of responsibility of what we have to take care of. Like I make sure we're legally filed. Cassie makes sure our documents are all in the board. And then we have 2 community team members who are amazing, wonderful, beautiful people who show up to, I'd say at least 75% of our meetings. And that's Julie Wolf, who's here right now, and Tiffany Yvonne, who facilitated one of the decolonization talk and part afterwards. So Julia and Tiffany, not being board members doesn't mean that they're not special or that their voices don't matter. It just means they're not required to show up to as many meetings. But even we're not. One of our cultures in the board is that if you don't want to be there, you don't have to be there. We'll figure it out. I mean, we're a regenerative, we believe in sustainable systems. So that means we're there when we have the energy to. And if someone needs to take a break, that's cool. Or if you don't need to show up, that's all right. We have a setup of having pretty much a weekly hour meeting, and with a frequent meetup most of the year, we're able to not go if we can't, and that's okay because we have opportunity for connection. And we have a culture of being okay if we don't show up. Like when COVID broke out, we didn't meet for like 5 months because there was other things that were important, and that's okay. We're still a legal nonprofit. And David Stein wanted to world travel. So we're like, call it a sabbatical, please. We love you. We don't want you to leave. Whenever you're ready to come back, you're welcome. And so, you know, we didn't talk to him for a long time. And then when we found out he was back in town, we're like, hey, we still love you. Let's hang out together.
Come back.
And he came back just in time to find us keynote speakers and privileges. It was seamless, his return.
So grateful that worked out of us staying as stewards of this organization. And I think our role is really just to lift up relationships around permaculture and the practical application of these teachings and the understanding of like the real roots that it came from, and doing our best to, you know, relive those in our lives. So anyways, that's all I want to say. If any other board members want to speak up, or you guys want to ask questions, that's what this next patch of time is for.
Oh, I want to say that we all live real lives, and I'm super thankful to be allowed to live my life. And I know David Stein is working, is building his career, traveling. Shaylee has children, I have children, and we all have things we do. But it's a non-hierarchical space that we really just dance together in a beautiful way. Not that we've not had some fun little discussions that we all grew from, but I also want to invite everyone to be part of it, just kind of like Julie Wolf is and such. It's a great community, and I look forward to it every week when we do it every week or every other week. It's just this awesome opportunity, but I feel like zero pressure. I just feel joy to be part of it, and yeah, it's been very harmonious, and it's been an honor to share the time.
And I also add, thank you. That was you did say part of what I wanted to say, David. Anybody at any time, with or without being a board or just being exactly the role that you are, whatever that is invited to come to the meetings that are posted on the homepage at northwestpermaculture.org. And it's really fun. Every once in a while, a community member jumps in there and just checks in with us. And it's really fun to be more in touch with our community, with all of you. So is that a fair invite, Shaylee and the board?
Yeah, I want to jump on that. I'll tell a quick little story about someone who did that. I forgot the person's name. They were starting a community, and he jumped on and said, hey, we need help. I need some advice about it. What was his name?
Zuma,
yeah.
From the
And that
coast.
was just so cool. And I just want to tell that story to invite other people to just, you can come and say, or you can send us an email and say, hey, I'm new and I'm looking for the resource for such and such. And that's why we're here. We're to help not just Converge once a year, but help facilitate all around. Also Facebook and Instagram and such. We have all these tools, and we want to utilize those to promote what you're doing and Converge all the time.
Yeah, two things about that though is that we are all real people who are co-managing stuff. We are all volunteers. None of us get paid. So there's this reality that we cannot always prioritize the convergence because we do need to take care of our families and ourselves and our lives and our gardens. So have grace for that invitation that, you know, this is no one's full-time job or even part-time job. It's a labor of love because we care about this community. And the second thing is that in our meetings, sometimes there's a lot of work we have to do, and we've pegged like the first 15 minutes of we have a goal of meeting for 1 hour to respect our lives, and that first 15 minutes is for community input. So depending on the time of year and what's going on, we can't always like delve into supporting whatever throws on our plate, but we have a designated time for that, so we can at least like talk about it and be encouraging and, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and really, really, really send a shout out of love and thanks to all the board members that have pulled this together in this trying time. So Shaylee, Cassie, Julie, David's, you know, and I'm sure there's more that are involved in this. I popped in on one of the board meetings, and it was truly joyful and appreciative to be welcome in that space. This is really unique, you know, and I found it a really unique experience to go through. I've done a couple of presentations now with this forum, and I've done others for other groups. But this is a time of really looking at what possibilities are out there for us to move these agendas forward in earth repair. And there is a lot of tools that are available now that were not available just even a few years back. And so you know, we're all learning how to navigate these tools and how to use them to the best of our ability. And I just want to, you know, give a big shout out of appreciation for people that are pioneering. And I know that's maybe a trigger word I found out. Pioneering, learning the space. I still haven't found a new, better word for that. But these are opportunities. So these crises provide opportunities for us to learn and grow and support one another to do that. And as co-steward at Inspiration Farm, that's what we've been doing for years and years. And we're also navigating how to try and do that to help support other people that are working along this path. So thanks for that.
David, Stein, or Cassie want to say any just stuff from your perspective?
I can say from my perspective, I came on because Laura Sweeney was on the board, and I'm friends with her in person, and she was so excited. She always talked about the board all the time, and I thought, oh, I could help. And I have created new friends, you know, and have really enjoyed working with Shaylee and David and Julie and Tiffany. I just enjoy all of you guys. And I just want to encourage anyone who, like, if you just kind of like have this feeling like maybe I could be helpful, then you probably can. I kind of have that feeling sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm that helpful, but then I get this like gratitude from everyone else being like, oh, you're so great, and like that feels really good. So if you know, like people telling you how great you are, I encourage you to join our board, because we will appreciate all your gifts that you give, no matter big or small, whatever it is. Like, just come, you know, and maybe you don't know what you can offer. Maybe you don't know what our needs are, but come to the meetings. You know, maybe set aside once a month that you're like, okay, I'm going to go to a board meeting and just check in. Like, we would enjoy having you there. The meetings are always great when it's just us, but it's also like even better when there's new people. Like, I get excited. Like, Brian came to the meeting, I was like, oh, yay. Like, you know, just a new person to share our life with. And I just want to encourage anyone else who feels that way, who like, I mean, like, I just like organizing stuff. So like that was a niche that no one else was really doing, and no one else seemed to really want to do it. So I was like, I can do that. So, you know, if I can do that, you guys can too.
Yeah, it's
Huge.
been wonderful being on this board, and as stated previously, everyone's just always so supportive of whatever we're doing in each other's lives. And yeah, this year a big part of the convergence was a lot of the people I got to meet on my trip, and I was only so happy to return to the board because it was just such an amazing community to be a part of. So I didn't have to think twice, and everything just worked out amazingly there. So I definitely encourage anyone who has an interest in permaculture, creating the networks and the future economies we all know we need and want to see, then get on board, because whatever input you have, I think it will help make better convergence in the future. And it's us, the people, that are making these events happen. So we hope to see you in the future.
Yeah, and in that regard, like, we have the Zoom and like a pretty good organizational system. Thank you, Cassie. And thank you for like, you know, us all kind of adopting like Slack. We have I used to be really good about putting all our board meetings in there, but now they're all in our Google Drive. But the point of it is that we have these resources and we have each other and we have a legal nonprofit that can do a lot, and this open spaciousness in our description to encourage sustainable practices that is so necessary right now. And if we want to give the abundance of the energy or skills or passion that we have to make things happen, this is a platform that we can use to do it. And so, you know, like I can't do everything and Cassie can't organize everything, but if you have a passion that's in this scope, we can, you know, if you have the spaciousness, the board, like the nonprofit has the spaciousness to be a container for a lot of good work.
And if you want, like the board support to help you with projects, like we've talked a lot about decolonization this weekend, and like talking to, you know, listening last night, I have this desire to find a way to listen to communities that have been in positions of less power, less money, less resources. I want to figure out like how can we as a board help them, and I think the like 6 of us that work together could probably do it, but I want more people to join on that and be like, well, how can we like make this part of our life? Like, you know, we talk about wanting people of color and, you know, Indigenous people and Black people to be part of permaculture, but it's like, well, we gotta like actively make that step and make those connections and talk to people. And you know, we're all limited in our time, so if many of us are doing that, then we can pull in more people and have a more diverse group. You know, I loved what Adam Brock was saying yesterday about he has a permaculture group that's specifically for people of color, like to, and I'm like, well, how can we do that? Like, how can we like have that for people and let them feel safe in situations, like, so that the woods aren't a place that they feel like threatened, you know, because we all love being in the woods, right? Like nature is part of my life. And, you know, I hadn't even thought about the fact that like someone who has a history, or their people have a history of being lynched in the woods, like how that might affect their thoughts on going into the woods. You know, I hadn't even, because that's not part of my history. That's not part of like what is ingrained in my thought process. So now I'm like, oh, now I'm aware. And like, how can we bring it to the cities? Like, look at more urban locations, have our convergences in more urban locations. You know, if we can like find a way to do that, bring nature in, that might help. I don't know. So I'd be interested in other people coming and helping us brainstorm about how we can do that as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Sylvan, you said that you weren't comfortable with people telling you you're great. We don't have to tell you you're great. We can just enjoy you being you.
You're harmonious with us.
Yes.
But to speak to that, that's one a bit about our culture that I really, really value about our group is we have had some board members, this is maybe before David and Cassie, but we've had like, and during our time as this group, we've had strong personalities. And like when I joined the board, the person who first took the reins of president was kind of authoritarian, and it was difficult for a lot of people. But what we have really worked on with the culture of Who's Here Now is having a really safe space to listen to intense people and allow there to be, I don't know, feelings or people that don't want to be the board or disagree with each other. And I feel confident that we respond with this love and compassion and listening. And there's not like, I think I've been involved with a few nonprofits and it can be really rough. And I'm just so grateful for the culture that we have of giving each other space and listening and just making room for us to be ourselves and to be in or to be out or to hold our truth and to recognize what we feel in our bodies with each other when we're going through things, and for it to not be really hard. It's like, you know, we like to take the feedback and grow from it as each other and look at it as not a problem, but a solution to being a better organization and to being better matched to what we do. And so I'm just so grateful that that's the team that we have.
There's a hand. Joe.
Wanted to introduce myself and touch on this subject a little bit. My name is Johanna. I live in Florida. And sorry for the get up. I was roller skating earlier.
That's awesome.
I just wanted to say how grateful I am to be joining for the first time this year. And I feel so much connectivity even through screens. And I'm really grateful that there's so much of an effort to talk about, you know, BIPOC people and relationships between BIPOC and non-BIPOC folk. And I just wanted to share what I felt yesterday. But before I do, I first and foremost want to say that I have no judgment towards anyone, and I totally appreciate and see the effort that's being that is happening here. So thank you all so much for being open to this. But I had an amazing time in the BIPOC group, and really I think some things touched a lot deeper than I really was expecting them to. And for that connection and those realizations, I'm very grateful for. It was a little bit, I don't really know the word for the emotion, but I guess it was a little bit like disheartening or disappointing that after I had such an intense, you know, moment in that group, in that safe space. And I was really looking forward to the group afterwards where we all came together and discussed. And I felt like it wasn't really sufficient time or organization or, I don't know, energy to really honor those conversations that the BIPOC people had in our group and perhaps the non-BIPOC people had in their group. And I just wish that there would have been a little bit more time allotted to that. So I guess I'm just offering a suggestion that as we are, you know, all maneuvering through these healing processes, that we give them the proper time and energy that they truly deserve. So once again, thank you to everyone. And I'm really excited to continue to be part of this and see what happens next year.
Yeah. Joe, I actually said the same thing in our planning group as we were talking, like we're in our 30 minutes of time. And I said, you guys, this is not enough time, like for what was coming up, for what people were talking about. And at that point, like we had another presentation coming up. So it was kind of hard to kind of like adjust and, you know, so I agree with you, like next time there will be more time. Like we will, even if it's like 5 hours and that's too little or too much, like that's better than not enough. So
Yeah,
I definitely, go ahead, Shaylee, sorry.
Part of that was respecting for the facilitators of the prior sessions that didn't know if it would be helpful. The facilitators weren't sure if that could be a non-useful space and didn't want to do it at all, actually. And us as a board were like, it's important to have a coming together space. So, you know, we lobbied for that space and we were asked to make it only a half an hour. And so, you know, we didn't want to ask the facilitators to show up for extra after they had a long session. So part of that time was just our board respecting what the facilitators wanted. And I would like to give it more time. And if we do something like next year, I think this is a great conversation to keep having. And so now we know from the feedback of this year, you know, that it is a helpful space, and that with a wonderful facilitator like Tiffany at the lead, we can trust that it's going to be okay, and that we don't have to be scared of an open space like that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. I saw you wanted to share yesterday, and I felt so bad that we didn't have time to like get to everyone who had raised their hand. So sorry.
Yeah. And it's a good reminder too, that like with our emergent design thing, we could have looked more at the schedule and like asked Matthew if he could have started 15 minutes later, or maybe there could have been room like that. And I appreciate how like this year, everything is so new. Like we've never done this before. We've never had only one workshop at a time that everyone like can just pop into when they want to. And so like in all of that, I'm so grateful for everybody who's here to just be open to us figuring this out. Like, honestly, a lot of this got pinned down in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we gonna like get the information? I'll make a protocol doc, and I like made it the day I sent it to everybody. You know, like all these things came up of what needed to happen, and you know, because like we couldn't really plan with COVID and everything. It was so hard to plan, so we just, you know, tried to do the best of like actually confirming with our presenters and knowing what they were up for and all this stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Any other people?
Any community questions? And then Julie, if no one speaks up, you're welcome to again.
I do see some comments from Kelda, and I know Kelda, you were on the board at one point, and I appreciate you being here this year. So.
Lot going on in the room, but yeah, I mean, I would say as far as a full decolonizing permaculture, I think it's totally needed, but I think it's a lot of white people right now, you know, and so there's like, but then I don't know, there's just all this, I personally, I think I would be a bit bored if it was mostly white people talking about decolonizing permaculture. So just some complicated thoughts to throw in there. But yeah.
I had a thought on that if anyone has like Teju last night was brilliant, and I so appreciate everything she added to our conversation, and it inspired me. I haven't really talked to any of you about this yet, but I could see our board hosting just talks. Like we could ask Teju to come back in a month and just promote that one seminar to everybody all over, and just do a digital tiny thing that's just a couple hours. And that would be really, really easy to organize and not very resource intensive. And I bet with our advertising type tools, it would be easy to have it to cover the costs of pulling in different presenters and making sure they had a financial blessing, and that we could pay for the big Zoom rooms and the little tools that we need. So in that heart, Joe or anybody, if you have someone who you're like, I love their voice and what they contribute, please like let us know. Like this is somebody whose words should be out there to the community that like might not always hear them. Because David Algren is rad about doing like specific targeting stuff to try to pull people into coming to things, or to have the Facebook ads come up on their screen. So like we can use those tools to help put presenters in the face of people who might not otherwise hear from them, and help bridge some of those like cultural information type gaps through talks like this. And I would love that to be something that our board did more.
I mean, I thought it was such a beautiful thing that the whole sections happened. It happened a little bit too. I think we had on Friday too. The little, you know, maybe an hour and a half of discussion on decolonization and the role of BIPOC people in the permaculture. I just think it's such a, you know, going forward in the future, that's an imperative to include everybody, and just you know, integrating that into this, you know, weekend was so important, especially with what's going on around protests around the country and whatnot, you know. And I just think it was a space to heal was so important. I thought about similar thing to you, Shaylee, where maybe a you know, a standing position for a like a lecture series or something, that there's always, you know, each convergence, we make an effort to try to, you know, have a person of color and, you know, be able to present in some fashion. So we just make a point of that. You know, I've seen over the years that there are times I've seen people come to the convergence and then I don't see them again. It's sort of like they bounce off and don't find a welcoming reception, or maybe it's just not a comfortable place or whatnot. And I think that the efforts that have gone on this year really create a welcoming environment that does allow people to feel comfortable and you know, return.
Yeah, it was nice hearing Jose Lorenzo, if you didn't hear his speech or his talk speaking about communities and indigenous knowledge, being an indigenous person living on the Cayman Islands, having been in there for 10 years. And I think he might be a great person to do like a lecture that we could have as like a monthly lecture series or something. That was a really great talk. If any of you missed that, we'll have the recording out. Yeah, I think his slide is now in the protocol doc, and so much wisdom there.
Sylvan?
Thank you, Joe. I see that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Can I ask a question that's not sort of tangentially related to this? At some point, we switched from using POC to BIPOC, and I understand what the different acronyms mean, but I don't understand why, because I thought that person of color included indigenous people as well as Black people and Hispanic people, et cetera, et cetera. And can someone explain to me? I'm not disagreeing with it. I know that preferred terminology changes all the time in the queer community that I'm much more embedded in, and I'm not disagreeing with it. I want to use the terms people prefer. I just don't understand why. Can somebody tell me why that change happened?
I don't know. Kelda, are you here in your work? Do you know when that came or how? I don't know. I would do some internet research.
Yeah, and I've heard different points of view from different people saying they don't like the term and they do like the term, and like, so it's a very complicated thing, and it's almost better to not put people in boxes with terms, like to just say, you're a person and I love you and we are people together and let's listen to each other and be with each other.
Like a lot of my friends a few years back switched from using transgendered to using transgender. And I appreciate that people explain why the previous one was offensive. And sometimes it's easier for me to remember to use something if I get it. Is that,
Tim, you have something to share?
Yeah, you know, it's like I listened to the whole decolonization session yesterday and had a bunch of ideas, and I thought it would be good to sleep on, but it's like decolonizing is the opposite of colonizing. And, you know, I've worked in multiracial work environments, and my brother has a saying that at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is what you deliver. And decolonizing happens as we do things together, not just talking, and it doesn't matter what, you know, it's the weaving circle, it's dancing, I find it doesn't matter so much what kind of work I do, it matters who I do it with. And you find yourself in those moments where you're flowing and nobody feels like they're doing something they want to do. The whole goal is to get something done. So as we do things with other cultures, other parts of our culture that have been disenfranchised and colonized, including ourselves, we're a product of a colonized world. And, you know, I really have appreciated Tiokasin Ghost Horse and First Voices Radio. And he broadcast a speech by John Trudell. And it kind of chokes me up to think of it. But he explained how that colonizing happened, you know, going back to introduction of mystical traditions that eliminated the earth knowledge. And it's true, we need that earth knowledge from the cultures that still have unbroken stories. Our stories are so broken. But anything we find to do together, we're raking a lawn, you know, the community garden that struggles sometimes because people go and come and go. But what are the simple things that we can find ourselves in the same place doing something and having those little conversations you have with each other as you accomplish something? And then once you've built something together, then everyone supports it.
Yeah, that's another area that I feel I have some energy just because of my personal passion for gardening to be more involved in this organization supporting, and that's in helping there be community and urban gardens and a space for educating. I love growing food. I love gardens. I love being outside and learning from the garden, even neglecting our garden sometimes and seeing how it teaches me, you know, because even with that, it's still beautiful. So if there are other people who want to have more synergy around community garden spaces and even like talking to cities and how like we as a nonprofit city relationship can steward land for the public benefit. That's like something we have the power to do as a nonprofit, is to have cities give us empty lots for us to turn into community gardens and create structures of shared collaborative, transparent management budgeting systems to manage land for the public benefit. That's like something we can do. That doesn't, it takes some setup work, but then, you know, in a regenerative system, there should be people who care about it that are keeping it going. And we can have that nonprofit backbone of somebody who's volunteering to be all these roles that we fill that can change over. Natural succession plans of other people to do what I do and Cassie and the different public or our roles. And that stuff we can integrate into our system is ways to support those gardens and places for swapping seeds and sharing recipes. There's this really great public garden in Brooklyn that's right under the big bridge there. It was just like an abandoned type lot, and they put in a community garden there. It has like a little skate park and a little like temple, and then the city decided to make this really beautiful schmancy thing like right next to it because of like the way that life was so good to this place where there used to just be hobos. Now there's like happy hobos that have a garden instead of just displaced people in tents. And it's just so, it's so great what can happen when we decide to like, it's recolonizing something with nature and community and people that are being careful stewards of the land, like listening to the land and having it be a healthy ecosystem instead of a forgotten place, like a wasteland of what is that? Like an industrial wasteland kind of. It's like, no, let's bring it back, bring it up.
Yeah, I remember in my PDC, the guy who taught it was from south of Chicago, and he had connections with people in South Chicago. And just talking to, like, there was this guy who bought a parking lot, and then they just started dumping dirt, and then they started growing food, and he only hired ex-convicts. He only hired people who would otherwise have, struggle finding a job. And I just remember thinking, that's what we need. Like, we need these systems that are places where people can just go and learn how to grow sweet potatoes, how to grow whatever, especially in these food deserts. Like you have south of Chicago is a huge food desert. There's so many people that don't see fresh produce. So like trying to find a way to like bring that to those areas. And here in the Pacific Northwest, I'm not as familiar with it because I haven't lived here that long, but I'm pretty sure there are food deserts in Portland and Seattle and places where people, as wonderful and lively as this place is, like there are people who don't have that connection with nature, even though that's something that I think the Pacific Northwest is like assumed to be this naturey, hippy dippy place, but that's not the truth. Not everyone here is that way. So to like inspire and create spaces for people would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a crack at that question a few questions back about why BIPOC rather than POC. I was hoping somebody else would step in. So I'll do my best here, but I think it's two things. One is acknowledging that our country was built on slave labor and genocide. And the second thing is that any solutions that we propose, we really need to be putting first and foremost in our mind the needs of those two groups of people. And the idea is if we do that, then it will lift up everybody. But if we don't focus on them, then they'll get left out. So that's my best memory of BIPOC, how that came about.
Thank you.
I'd love to make a quick comment on that and the fact that I've personally seen in scenarios where we're struggling at healing something is sometimes breaking that thing that's hard to heal apart and addressing or just vocalizing with new vocabulary the bigger picture just opens up the book and makes it makes people feel validated, but then also I guess allows for a deeper seeing. And I think that's what I got from what you said, and I'm super thankful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something powerful about being explicit too.
You know, as much as I struggle with the terms, and those that were in the meeting yesterday with the sort of the white, meeting, I brought this up as well then, is I struggle real hard with the terms of white and black, and this sort of like, framing everyone as one or the other, because they're really, none of us are there's no country white, there's no country black. We're not really, nobody's from any of those places. We're all a collection of different nationalities. But I do understand, especially my wife being, a person of color, and, that people are, instant make assumptions or generalizations for her that they wouldn't for me, just because of her skin color, even though they have no idea where she's from. And so there is some unity that happens, I think, within that group that is just because of the skin color, regardless of where they're from. As unfortunate as it is, and it's heightened right now by a lot. We notice it much more right now than we have, any other time that we've been living in. We've been married for 15 years, living in the Northwest, and the last 3 or 4 years have been by far the hardest. Just in terms of the societal reaction to her. And so I think there is that unity that occurs within that label, different than what would happen in the white label. And again, I don't like those labels very much, but I do understand that purpose of them. One other question I had for the board though is, there's a lot of partner organizations that just are present within the convergence. An easy example would be like the Beacon Hill Food Forest. And I just wonder if there's any more formal sort of, I just think about like when I say I do a presentation for something, I oftentimes will put logos of different organizations that we're collaborating with. And I wondered if there's a way to sort of have a collection of organizations that are supportive of the organization of the nonprofit of permaculture convergence, or vice versa. If the food forest, Beacon Hill Food Forest, on their website has a logo of the permaculture convergence. If there's some kind of exchanging that way, where there's some sharing of, so that people who are involved know that this is, who's that? It's just kind of a connection there that I don't see present, but it seems that does play helpful for those who are new to any of the groups to sort of see that connection.
So we have sponsors every year. And this year we didn't have as many sponsors, but we do still have the 2019 sponsors listed on the website under archives and sponsors, so people can see who's helped in previous years. And I'm gonna see if I can find the 2018 ones and try to go backwards. That's a little bit harder than moving forward. So
Part of the history of this group is that this is, I think, the 13th year of the permaculture convergence, but for the first 15, for the first, what is that, 9?
12, 9.
For the first 9 years, it was organized by different groups of people under this banner, under the umbrella of different nonprofits. And then in 2015, I think sometime that year, Kelda, you might know, it was formed in Oregon, and then it got formed in Washington. And so being able to carry this thread of what organizations have been like active, either financial or logistical sponsors, like the woman who founded the Beacon Hill Food Forest was the president when I joined the board, and kind of didn't want to be in that role anymore, but that was what she was doing. So we have a goal to try to figure that out. And we made a channel on Slack called Perpetual Promotions. And we want to keep shouting out like a gratitude to those who stewarded this organization and helped it be what it is today. And it'd be great to have a place on their website too, as we figure that out more, but it's our heart to keep those connections alive. But there's also like a really big research project and like to really figure that out. But if you have the bandwidth, Blair, and want to help on that journey of like talking to the different organizers, like we wrote an article with the Permaculture Design magazine last year, and it was co-written by a lot of people who were in the convergence, and we talked to Skeeter and like Bill Al from Tools of Change, and I think it's Janet, and there's like Janice Blair and like all these people who were involved, right? And Tom Allen, there's these people who were a part of it when I joined that aren't really here at all anymore, but they are happy to share bits of that knowledge, and I'm happy to pass on all that contact information if you or anyone wants to help. Like, I don't know, we could have a history. It would be great to have a history of like permaculture in general, and then the Northwest Permaculture Convergence. Like, I would totally welcome that to be a goal for this organization, to have that information up there as we have the ability to format it.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, Shaylee, another thing that maybe we can separate sponsors and collaboration, because he's also kind of looking at maybe even looking at those and tackling them differently. And maybe, Blair, you can be a volunteer to help us organize collaboration. And Shaylee just spoke of a lot of the collaborations that I just observed, you know, like Skeeter is a collaboration and all the things he does, you know, and maybe kind of as a board become a little bit more formal in how we collaborate in our collaboration policy, and then also what standards of collaboration, because do we want to put this person's name on our website? What are their ethical standards? And I think some of those things are things we were talking about having in the future, but thanks for bringing that up. But I think if we separate sponsors and collaborators, sponsors are giving us money, collaborators are more like we're just going to be harmonizing together and maybe a better good of what the vision of the Northwest Permaculture Convergence is. And so it can be advertising too, in the fact that we're collaborating, but more than that, our goal is to just bring resources together and to converge people.
And we do have the directory on our website, which we haven't really mentioned much this weekend, but it's a list of all the people in the Pacific Northwest that have submitted their information. So if you want to be listed on the directory, we encourage anyone to go onto our website, put their name and info in there, and I'll get it on the website, like linked and all that stuff. So people will know who you are, like by county and all of that, so you can connect with people who have been connected with us.
Yeah, there's a term for those collaborators that I love that that Tiffany has shared with us a lot, and that's that affinity organizations. She's put in some effort to connect me and our team to those who organize the Beloved Festival. And her and I, or she invited me to be a part of the mini maker convergence in Tacoma with her about it, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And so there's all these other kind of thought trains of just like, there's sustainability, you know, like Beloved is sustainability in the arts. Makers are sustainability in, I mean, kind of in just having people be responsible for what they do. And so there's, when we think about just affinity, this like heart to make things like better and keep going without a bunch of stress. You know,
well, it's an easy thing for me to imagine, you know, again, going back to the Beacon Hill Food Forest is a good example, is like, because permaculture has this longevity to it, right? Somebody might dip into permaculture convergence, meet people, network, generate ideas, put in place a site that is the roots of it are deep within the permaculture community, and then it develops, and then they don't, maybe those people aren't as actively engaged, but it's you know, maybe we talked about, I think I've heard it mentioned before, some type of, you know, GIS or some mapping, you know, that could be done of like, boom, here's a little, you know, maps are super powerful, you know, and here's a little spot that is connected in whatever terminology is appropriate, but, you know, has some collaboration or connection to the convergence, so people can see that and be like, I know that place, I've worked there, you know, and yeah, I'd be more than willing and would love to help volunteer with that type of stuff. And I also have a lot of mapping skills. So if that is not already on the ground, moving off, you know, we'll see what we can do. But
cool. It's not. I was talking, I don't know if you were here, I think last year before, we had Greg Schundler involved in that project, and Mike Mackey and a few other people are into this idea of mapping individual landscapes and community projects so that we can have like data. Here's, you know, average temperature, average rainfall, elevation. Here's the plant matrix for the ground. Here's contact information if you want to talk to somebody involved in the project. Like that sort of stuff would be such a powerful tool for people. Because then I think it was Andrew Millison from State University a few years ago shared climate models of how here is going to here. And if we can look like also similar bioregions, like here is similar to like Chile and Spain. There's these correlations in our ecology. And if we can map those specific data points in the Northwest and what our plant matrix is and what our tools are that work, that's so cool, because we can be a benefit not just to here, but to like all over the world. We have these documentable models that other people could just apply like next week, and then we can make the world better. So I would love to have support in that vision, Blair and anybody else who likes maps and data and spreadsheets and awesome social change. Anything? From Julie, who is here is wanting to stay connected? Why and how? Yeah, that's an important question. And I know we have the like email and our meetings and our Slack and our Discord. So hopefully between all those options, we can get together.
I would also like, I know some people are anti-Facebook. I've struggled with Facebook over the past few months. It's some of the extreme negativity that I've seen there. Mm-hmm. I have chosen to stay thus far. And maybe I'll be the Facebooker of Northwest Permaculture Convergence for now, but like I enjoy utilizing that as a space to continually connect. And I also really, really value this thing that we still have in our phones. I know sometimes they take the headphones out, but we still have a speaker and a microphone, and I like hearing voices. So I invite anyone ever to call me. I love voice conversations still. So that's my way of connecting, Facebook or ring my phone.
Yeah, and on the social media end, I think there's a lot of people on the Facebook group that help manage it that we never really talk to them, like Chris Ostermeyer, is that his last name? Chris Osterberg. And then Robin Wagner, and all these great people who are like being a part of the permaculture movement that helped put the Facebook channel in place in the first place. So you might end up talking to them too, because I know David and Cassie and I engage in there, and then those other people of our greater community do. So if you're engaging in any of our social media stuff, be aware it's not any one person. Almost everything we do has many points of access and a lot of accountability and openness. There's a strong ethic in our group for this like horizontal management of things and access to stuff. And so like on social media stuff, it might be me, it might be Julie, it might be David, you know, we don't really have much on our YouTube. That's mostly Julie putting that up there, but it's going to change, you know.
Not yet, yeah.
We'll get it. We got a lot more content this year. And one thing we see in nature is that everything is always changing, and that there's this like internal succession always happening, like something is growing up to take over the roles. And, you know, in our organizational documents, I think it says that you should be on the board for like 2 to 7 years or something like that. So, you know, I've been here.
I think I was told 3, so I'm
years.
waiting it out 1 more year.
Yeah.
No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
so it's like, like, so if you like stewarding things and want to become a part of our board culture, for me or Cassie or David or Julie or Tiffany to kind of step out of what we have been doing, other people need to step in and be a part of our culture in this like way that we can feel, I think it's like Bill Al mentored me into the role of being president, of what that really meant. And then he was able to kind of let go. He like went to the meetings until he felt comfortable that I could like facilitate meetings basically in a way that was in alignment with our culture of respecting each other. Because our previous president didn't really do that. And it almost made the board fall apart. Everybody wanted to jump ship and it was hard. And so, you know, like I think it's really important for us to be cultivating that even now of building relationships and looking for that. Like, I feel like, you know, we don't want to be I'm so happy to be in the role and serve this momentum and this movement and this organization as long as need be. But I also welcome other people doing what I do, because, you know, an organization outlives the people. We're here to help steward it for a time. It's just like land. Like, none of us own the Northwest Permaculture Convergence. None of us own the land, even if we own it. We are a temporal steward in the scope of time. And if we do a really good job, we can plant plants and ideas and structures and systems in place so that when we leave, they'll keep on growing and benefiting people and bearing fruit. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said about horizontal, and that's not only just spoken, but it's lived out. And you started this conversation, Shaylee, by saying you put on the president's hat, and you don't just say that, but you do that. We're all equal. It is a non-hierarchical based system that we're not just saying, but we're doing between the board members. And I hope that we can work to honor and maintain that over time. And as people come in, that we encourage and educate people in nonviolent communication, but also in non-hierarchy. But she's just saying it's a role, it's a hat she puts on, but we're all equal. In the same way, Julie, you know, she, by legal purposes, doesn't take a voting role, but she takes a massively active role, you know? So Julie's no higher or lower. In the same way, you guys are here today. And I hope that we've been able to participate in a way that's been non-hierarchical. And you know what? I've been already corrected in ways that I could have done better. And I love that. And so I also want to open up some questions. I mean, if there's areas where we could have been less hierarchical, if we could have honored someone, I thank you for Joe. Joe came in and was very vulnerable and sharing, say, thank you for doing this, but I wish you'd done this better. Yeah. And she set the invitation for you all to do that also by her example. So just an invitation.
Yeah. We are a board that loves feedback. Don't worry about hurting our feelings. If any of us happen to get offended, we won't really show it, and we'll be really gentle, and we'll be grateful that you said something. I trust that for all of us.
Well, I think, Shaylee, you know, I've been part of several different virtual conferences by now, and I say this one has been one of the best. You know, you've done just an enormous amount of work to get this all together, and it's, you know, much appreciated. I just, you know, want to thank you for that. All the board across the. Yeah.
Thank you, Blair. I have to say my anxiety levels have never been higher in the last 2 weeks. I have, like, every single day felt like texting Shaylee and David and Julie and being like, I quit. I'm done. My anxiety's too high. But then I look at Shaylee and she's like, we can do this. And I'm like, okay, hold on, we can do this. So, like, for people who might have emotional things going on, like, I love the support that, you know, we give to each other. And like Shaylee said, like, yeah, we get emotional. We're people. Like, we can accept the feedback. Like, you may say, Cassie, you've talked too much and I don't like your voice and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And I'll go, okay. And I'll probably go over there and cry. And I'll come back and I'll be fine. So just so you know. But yeah, give us feedback. We want to know, like this is our first time doing this online. Like, this is, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Cassie. And I have to remind people, like, these are trying times in so many ways, and it's pushing everyone to their edge of what they think they're able to do, to the edge of like what resources are available, to all these edges. But it's where these edges meet the unknown that wonders happen. And it is so amazing to see all of these incredible people working that edge as hard as they can, because I love surfing that edge myself, and it has taken me some amazing places. And together, we're going to push this edge into the new age, you know. And I'm really thankful to be doing this with everyone here.
Awesome, thank you.
We have about 2 minutes left of this official time, and then we have about 15 minutes until our lunch conversation on just sharing our canning, fruit leathering, preservation tips. I wrote, it says leather on the schedule, so if we want to talk about tanning leather, we can do that too. That's fun.
We have admin is trying to raise her hand.
Oh yeah, admin, please speak up.
Thank you, admin, what you wrote.
I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, I want to tell you a little story about Mark from Vashon Island in co-housing. Shayla, do you know him? Of course. Mark.
I don't know. Maybe I've met him, but
you know, the one really early permaculture leaders that Mark had a vision, 50 years ago as a permaculturist, and now my grandchildren are the beneficiaries of his vision of having started a co-housing community on Vashon Island using all of the permaculture techniques. Mark really is renowned in this circle, so I'm sure somebody here knows who I'm talking about.
I think I just saw Mark Music.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So isn't that amazing? Of course, I didn't know Mark lived there when my daughter moved her family to co-housing on Vashon Island from Little Raymond, Washington. It's about 2 hours from here. But thank you. Thank you for this community, because I am the direct beneficiary of your vision. It's working out. These are the 3 grandchildren and they're having more fun right now in co-housing. Can you imagine how safe they are during this pandemic and to be schooled at home? Yeah, really nice. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I know I've said it before, but I'm just so grateful that like we're all here. You know, we were wondering last week how many people were going to come, and we're like, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 50, who knows? You know, just like not really knowing if who would actually show up to the meetings, and if the format would let us feel like we were actually connecting with each other, or if it would just be too weird and people would check out. So
how many people registered?
179.
Wow, cool.
Wow.
So, and on average, we've had about 40 to 50 people within the Zoom calls. So I think there will be a lot of people who will be watching this content later. And that's fine. And we'll try to figure out ways that we can open up places for people to discuss, you know, afterwards. Like, I think that would be really cool. Shaylee and I were talking about that, like the best method of channeling conversations about topics. And yeah, so we're going to try to figure that out. Another new road to go down.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that seems a little parallel, avenues, sort of co-evolving between what discourse and Slack, and it probably would just work itself out on what becomes the most useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Cassie?
Oh, I think like, sorry, I'm choking. There will probably be some duplication of information on each one until we can figure out, like, I mean, Discord's very new, Slack we've used for a while, but as we get more people on there, I think they will both like figure out their role in our organization and how people can use them, and what we as an organization, how we want to use them.
Yeah, they're both kind of a channel to organize messages and information around a topic that is facilitated by only that organization. So Slack was developed by tech companies so that they could use it as a project management type discussion tool. You have a pound symbol with a word like gardens or planning or promotions or budget or board meetings, and then you click on that channel and there's all the conversations and documents and pictures and whatever embedded into that channel in this real time who said what, and you can ping like @Cassie and all that. And so Discord is similar in that regard, but it was developed by people in the gaming world. And and we decided when I joined the board, I knew about Slack. I use it for college projects and for my small business. And back in 2016 or 17, I was like, hey, can we use this? They wanted to use either Basecamp or something else. And I asked if I could personally do the Slack thing to organize our information and invite people to interface with what the board was doing. And everyone said it was okay. So it's been an experiment running for about 4 years now. Discord, we just implemented because it has a slightly easier learning curve. Like you're automatically in all the channels, and in Slack, you have to like kind of pick where you want to go.
And I have found, just as on a personal note, Discord has been like my new social gathering place. Like I have found different communities that share interests with me, that are in the gaming industry. Like I'm a gamer, but there's also, like I thought, well, this doesn't have to be just gaming. This could be any interest, and like what better use than like our permaculture group and finding these like community and supporting each other. And I don't know, I feel like it's a healthy way to like interact versus like Facebook, where there's little like, algorithms showing you certain things based off of what you liked and not liked, and like trying to get you to feel emotions and get you to a place. And that's not healthy for us as a community. So
gamers are people who play video games and like online games. And the links to join these are on the protocol doc, and they're also on the
page of the website.
And one more thing, David, and then it can be you or Fortune.
Fortune.
Part of our desire to have Slack and have a Facebook group, have Discord, is that there are different people who are comfortable with different ways of connecting. And there's also kind of entrenched communities, like not entrenched, but like isolated. Like some gamers are isolated, and some techie people who are comfortable with Slack might not ever go on Facebook or might not ever want to join a board meeting, but they might join our Slack channel and look at everything and slowly feel more comfortable and then be involved, or might be involved. So our decision in being like, sure, let's just do it all, is that we have a greater reach to connect with people who might not otherwise ever interface with gardens and decolonization and permaculture thinking and all this stuff. It's this way to do this cross-pollination and intersecting of different communities. Yeah, and Fortune, you've been waiting for a bit.
Yeah, sorry.
You're unmuted, Fortune.
Tim.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Fortune 3, that's your name.
Okay. I love it. I think what's been really fun is in doing Zoom as opposed to being there, although I much prefer being there, is that I've got to sit and look at your face and listen to you talk, Shaylee and Kathy and David. I spent 3 days with David in my first conference doing swale work. We were one of the NWPCC swale dancers. Anyway, it was 10, 20 people in the class, and we got to have a minute or two of interaction, but mostly I'd see Shaylee running around the place running things and trying to have, having a few great conversations and moments, but obviously on it. And you seem so much more relaxed, even though I know you're busy and you had to get up early and make all kinds of accommodations. But so I guess in that way, it's more intimate.
Yeah, I have been so grateful to be able to sit in on sessions. I just get like a minute in a session or two because there's just weird things I have to tend to, and there's no technology element usually. So it's like running from here to there to talk to people who are melting down, and it's all like I can deal with that on my computer.
Yeah, cell phone connections are gone when people are in the country.
I feel like there was a lot less random stressful things. We dealt with most of that. Like there's been very, very little. It's been, yeah.
I really like that there's been only one channel, only one track, rather than having to make those hard decisions about which of these awesome things I want to go to. But it would be really nice. Some guy is trying to investigate some ways to sing together. It would be wonderful to sing together. I really, really missed that. That was one of my favorite things last year.
If you, Sylvan, want to host a singing together permaculture songs gathering on our Zoom channel, we can talk to you about what time that is, and maybe people will come and share songs.
It's impossible.
You can't really do it over Zoom. You need a different technology.
There's other apps I've heard that are more appropriate for actually people trying to time the singing together.
Okay.
Zoom does some weird things with the way it processes language.
Yeah. Well, we'll promote it, and I'll come when I can.
I'll figure out what the technology needs to be.
Yeah,
it sounds like Blair might know some.
I haven't asked my musician friends who do that, but I could ask. I know people that are doing the more
synchronized singing.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for the good feedback on the one session at a time. I've personally always felt kind of overwhelmed and like I need to run between different things to try to get bits, and it's made it hard for me to engage in a lot of like things like this. And so, logistically it made it work for us to actually take this on, to only have one channel to try to navigate. But I found it really refreshing, and in this moment I'm being reminded of pruning Japanese maples and some other plants where there's this, you prune lightly and you prune often, where you have like a constant, like in how that applies to this is, we have this now. This was not too much to take on. Maybe we can do like a mini convergence quarterly or something like that. I think someone suggested something like that. Like I'm not committing to that, but it's possible that we could do little sessions like this, or that monthly lecture series where we have a more steady stream of workshops all year instead of trying to pack 200 workshops in 4 days, or what has happened on other years. And this online format makes that way more possible because we just have to log in or know we can view it later.
Our local group, Permaculture Woodinville, does a monthly lecture, or before the pandemic, workshop. And that's been really nice. It's not a big thing. You just have to have a couple of hours in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm seeing in the chat about having a regular monthly forum, and that might be something that we can, I don't know if us board members can necessarily go, but we could facilitate a space to just have an open community meeting just to talk about whatever, where we could have it recorded for accountability and just make it be that you don't have to have a host to join, and just like set a time and a place that people could Zoom together about permaculture. That would be really easy for us to do. And if any of you have thoughts on that, like, yeah, I'd be happy.
Just like a potluck or something.
Yeah.
Just kind of like jump in and have dinner together on first Friday of every month or something like that.
Yeah, permaculture potluck, have your potluck with yourself and with your computer.
Well, and we can also encourage people to
swap. Yeah, there's all kinds of things we could do together. Harvesting gatherings of our different properties, work parties. I could speak a little bit to a decade or more of being on Skype and doing music. And I know that some groups used to perform across the world. on Skype. But it seems that my personal, lately it seems there's so many, well, especially this year, there's so many people on the internet that it's just that lag problem. So I'm not sure. There used to be a way to do it on Skype. Even then I didn't know how there wasn't lag for some people, but yeah, the best way seems to be one person sings or plays the music and that everybody else sings with them and mutes. So far, that's the best. Or you do a recording. Everybody does a recording and you put it together, which is fun.
Yeah, so as we have 3 more minutes to kind of transition from this space between our, talking shop, ask the board anything, ideas of what to do, to lunch, preserving stuff, processing stuff, conversation. Is there any more in this realm, or would anybody like to share a song or something to wrap up this space? Or request a song if it's one that one of us might know?
Don't have a song, but I do want to say that everyone is welcome to email us or contact any of us on the board in whatever way you feel comfortable, whether it's Facebook or whatever. I know I'm pretty adjustable with the ways I communicate. I'm pretty sure David and Shaylee are too. So if you have ideas or you want us to kind of talk about them, feel free to send a message in whatever way or call us.
We just got a nomination for Marley to sing "We Shall Be Known." Are you here, Marley? Would you lead that? I see a Joshua screen that might be Marley. No.
I'm here, but that's not the song I would share.
Well, you can share another song. We can share that song too with anyone who would feel comfortable. We can share that. I only kind of know that song. So yeah, would you share a song, Marley? Would you share a song, Marley? I know Meadow has some songs too.
Especially if it's recorded on our webpage, I'd feel really good about it.
Yeah, the song with you and Esther, absolutely. Yeah, screen share. That would be awesome. It's on the video page, Marley. Uh-oh, we're losing your internet though.
Yeah, there's a breakup.
You want me to find it? I might have stronger internet now. What?
Maybe this is not.
Our internet is really bad out here.
I can tell you sound like a robot.
I can at another time I can go and find it, and I found it before and play it if you want.
That happens when you hang out with people for a day or two.
Yeah, and I don't know where that crazy.
I would love it because I think it's in this, and I would love for everybody to hear
It is.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I saw if we can let that maybe work. Meadow, did you have a song you would be willing to share?
I'm put on the spot. Yeah.
Way to spotlight. Meadow?
Actually, also my partner here eating burrito is a very good song person. And,
I don't know what to sing though. You know. Come on.
And I found when I was looking through my voice memos that I had a voice memo called, what was that? The Permaculture, the Musical. I'll try to upload that. It was like all of our campfire song night from years ago. But
That
yeah.
was like the best night ever.
Yeah.
Leave and cannot wait. I never made chords for this song. Leave and cannot stay. Spore of a mushroom floats away, taking care and taking flight. Sing in the sun, dance in the moonlight. I think that's it. I had to find it. It's like in my brain somewhere. Leave and cannot stay. Spore of the mushroom floats away, taking care and taking flight. Sing in the sun, dance in the moonlight. So yeah, that one is a permaculture song that I wrote and then I forgot about it completely. So that is the little remnants of it. And it's about letting go, just how a leaf lets go of her leaves. And the mushroom lets go of the spores. And it's just like honoring that part of nature, which is about letting go. So, sorry, that was not very much of a song, but Ted, do you want to sing a song? Anyone else want to sing a song?
Sounded good. The few seconds you were playing sound very good.
Otherwise, I do know a Halloween song.
And we put the words for "We Shall Be Known" by the company we keep in the chat if anyone just wanted to go for it. But you can play a Halloween song. It's almost October.
Yeah. My dog Spot and I, we always do the things we like, walking through the graveyard home. My dog Spot and I, we always do the things we like, walking through the graveyard home. Dark and starry night and something wasn't feeling right, thought I heard a madman moan. Plainly standing there, a boy mostly made of hair, his eyes lightly lit by the moon. Spot began to growl, but I was calm, I don't know how, something in the deep of his eye. He said, have no fear, it's just a werewolf standing here. Please, young girl, don't run away. I stayed and fell in love and surely thanked the God above that something so peculiar was my fate. He's my hairy boy, the big old paws, they bring me joy. Every full moon's a holiday. He likes to joke around, that dogs and I surely sound, but he's my number one, I think he knows. My dog Spot and I, we always do the things we like, walking through the graveyard home.
Oh! Thank you. Yeah. Marley, did you want to share your song, or did we get that whole plan to work? And thank you so much, Meadow. That was beautiful. I love your voice and your playing. I hope we can play in person and dance.
Hi, Meadow.
Love seeing you and hearing you, beautiful Meadow.
I can jump in there with "We Shall Be Known." There's this song I really want you all to hear. Maybe we'll get it in sometime. But right now, I feel like I could jump in. If the internet works.
Uh-oh. You kind of twanged on that question, Marley.
Yeah, you have a bit of a lag, but we can try for a bit if it works.
I can also lead this "We Shall Be Known."
By the beneath by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap seeds of change alive from deep
within the earth.
And it is time now, and it is time now that we thrive. It is time to lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Sorry for my everything.
Thank you. The bandwidth held out.
Thank you so much.
Outer Space David. Is there anything, and that was beautiful, thank you, Marley. I'm glad that the bandwidth held out. Is there anybody else that would like to share anything?
Julie and I had talked about doing Sing the Sun Up, and we didn't get an opportunity to do it at breakfast. Do you want to sing that, Julie?
Sure.
Do you remember the lyrics?
Yes. I know I will remember as we sing along, but I don't know how our bandwidths will match. So we can either try.
I don't know that we can sing together, but I was thinking I might sing the first verse and then let you sing the first verse, and then I'd sing it again, and then you'd sing it again, and then we'd go on to the second verse and do the same thing.
Yeah, and I just want there to be an awareness that one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hosts or co-hosts might mute one of you if it ends up being really crazy. So there's no offense to anyone if that happens, but it's something we need to do to make it.
Yeah, we'll let the co-host do the switchy dance. How's that?
Yeah, and no one else is doing it, so no one gets in trouble. But we have to, make it make sense for the space.
How about you do it, Shaylee, and you just be in charge of that, so that way we're not switching people, all of us. Then we can just make you. Someone gets upset, talk to Shaylee.
I can take it. So sorry if I.
Okay, Sylvan, remind me who starts, and then I don't know. Tell me how we do it.
Oh my God. I remembered the lyrics 30 seconds ago, and as soon as I'm put on the spot, they just flew out of my head.
Yeah, we shall be out in my head. So what are we
right,
saying?
exactly.
Sing
Now I've got
the sun up. Yeah. Sing the sun up. It's a new day. Shine your light. Find your way.
Sing the sun up. It's a new day. Shine your light. Find your way.
Get up and mind your heart now. Get up and
This is fun. Get up and open your heart. Get up and open your heart. Someone.
Get up and open your heart now. Get up and open your mind. Get up and open your... I totally was singing it this morning.
Sun up. It's a new day. Shine your light. Find your way. Go.
Sing the sun up. It's a new day. Shine your light. Find your way. Go. Get up and open your heart and get up and open your mind.
Get up and open your
Open your mind and get up and open your heart. We've changed the words.
Get up and open your eyes and get up and open your mind. Get up and open your heart now. It's
Time for a brand new start.
Start. Here we go. Get up and open your eyes and get up and open your heart. Get up and open your mind and it's time for a brand new start.
It's time for a brand new start.
Awesome.
I liked when Blair jumped in.
That was lovely.
Those were fun mornings, getting up and singing that song, but I don't remember all the words very well.
Yeah, and we might be able to find them if we look up. I think it's on the schedule, but it's Magic Mama Music, and that's Sherston, who was able to share a couple songs with us yesterday. And she shared some rad songs, and when we get all our little tidbits up, that half an hour that we were able to take together will be something we can view later.
Yeah, I've got all the lyrics now that I don't have the other song in my head. Sing the sun up, it's a new day. Shine your light, find your way. Sing the sun up, it's a new day. Shine your light, find your way. Get up and open your mind and get up and open your heart. Get up and open your eyes and it's time for a brand new start. Get up and open your eyes and get up and open your heart. Get up and open your mind, yeah. It's time for a brand new start.
Sing the sun up, it's a new day. Shine your light, find your way. Get up and open your eyes and get up and open your heart. Get up and open your mind, yeah. It's time for a brand new start.
Sherston is amazing. I love the way she engages with music. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, do we want to talk about canning, leather, and other preservations?
You can interpret that as fruit leather or hides.